What is up, everybody? Chris, the DGen, Dice DGen on YouTube for my craps content. How are we all doing this week? It is week 8 of the NFL season, and we are here on Casino Gaming TV for episode 2 of Daily Fantasy Domination. All right, so as like last week, we're going to go over the recap of week 7. We're going to go over some injuries that I'm keeping a close eye on. We're going to go over the matchups, the analysis, and finally, my picks for the week. All right, guys? So, real quick, though, Discord. All right? Discord, get in the Discord. It's linked down below. All right? You can find me in Discord under Dice DGen. Hop in the DFS Domination channel, the chat room there, and we talk all of our DFS content in there. I'll post my picks for the week on Sundays. I put out my top rankings at each position, guys I'm looking to target. They are guys that I've talked about on this show, but I rank them 1 through 5 for you. All right, who I'm looking to pick, why I'm picking them, that's on this show, and then I will send you guys the analysis and my actual picks that I'm building into my lineups on Sunday morning. All right, I also posted on Instagram on Daily Fantasy Domination on Instagram. Same logo, just Daily Fantasy Domination, one word. That is the username on Instagram. Also on Twitter, same thing, Daily Fantasy Domination. You can find the same logo there as well. You can also shoot me an email if you want, dicedgen@gmail.com. I will answer any questions you guys may have. All right. And office hours on Thursday during the night game. If you guys have questions, I'll be in the voice room on the Discord. So again, make sure you hop in the Discord. It's down below. And we can discuss questions, specific players, things like that on there, all right? And if I'm not in the voice room, just shoot me a DM or something, and I'll hop in there quickly. I'm usually in and out of there, but I'm usually on there during the Thursday night game. So, week 7, guys. How do we do on week 7? How did everybody do week 7? I know that if you took my picks last week, you had a great week, all right? If you didn't take them, I don't know if you did or not, but if you took my picks last week, you had a great week, so let's talk about it. All right, let's talk about it. The Thursday night game, the Sunday night game, and the Monday night game. I didn't give out specific lineups for those games. I did give you guys my plays that I liked. I told you I liked Kyler Murray. He finished 10th overall out of all the quarterbacks. He was the best performing QB in that game. D-Hop had a great week. He was 8th overall for wide receivers. Arizona wide receivers altogether had a really good week. Told you I liked Olave. My value pick was Juwan Johnson, the tight end for New Orleans. He finished tight end number 2 overall for the entire week. All right, so great pick there. And then Benjamin, I told you I like Benjamin, 6th running back for the week overall. Good lineups there. Sunday night game, I told you it was a tough quarterback situation. It was. Pittsburgh's quarterback scored 10.28 points. Miami scored 15.49 points for the quarterbacks. I told you I didn't really like the quarterbacks there. They didn't do great. I told you I liked the wide receivers. They added up for almost 70 points combined between all the wide receivers. So good picks there. Monday night was a little bit of a toss-up. I didn't really love anything Monday night. I told you I liked Stevenson, who finished 11 overall. New England wide receivers, they were okay, nothing great. But you know, those picks, again, I don't give you guys full slates for those because I don't love those games. I like the main slate on Sunday. That's my main thing that I look into and stuff. So those picks were given to you. I don't build a lineup, but hopefully you guys took some of that advice and you did well with it. But let's talk about that main slate. All right, let's talk about that main slate. Who did I tell you my favorite quarterback was? Joe Burrow. There's a little star next to his name for a certain reason. He finished 1st overall. Yeah, he was my favorite. I took him in some lineups. I didn't take him in other lineups, but I wish I took him in all of them. Lamar Jackson banged up. Dak Prescott didn't have a great week, first week back. Herbert didn't have a great week either. Geno Smith, debatable. Again, those guys were going for the value plays there, but I told you Joe Burrow was my favorite. He finished QB1 for the week. Running backs. Josh Jacobs and Kenneth Walker were in just about every single one of my lineups last week. I told you why I loved them. They finished 1 and 2. Austin Eckler finished 3. We had 1, 2, and 3 in the top 4 picks. All right, guys. So, again, good picks. I don't charge for them. All right, I don't charge. Just please hit that like button. All right, I appreciate if you hit the like button. It it shows up on my screen, and I like that you guys hit it. So hit the like button. All right, top three running backs, and then my top 4 picks. All right, Kenyon Drake, Gus Edwards came in as a last minute call. So again, if you were in some of the chat rooms and stuff, I was saying to swap them, but Kenyon Drake, not a great week. I left him on there because I did give him out as my pick instead. But overall, guys, great week on the running backs. Wide receivers, all right. Struggled a bit at the wide receiver position this week, but Jamar Chase, I told you, was one of my favorites. Just that high price tag, but you could have built him in your lineup. Certainly, he finished number 1 overall. So good there. And tight ends, all right. Kittle was my favorite tight end, and Njoku. Njoku had a good week. He got hurt, but I told you Kittle was also one of my favorites. Again, price tag issues there. That's why I put him second. But overall, great week for Kittle. And if you haven't been paying attention, guys, every single lineup in either the first slot or the second slot had the number 1 performer at the position overall. If you want to go for number 2 performer, I gave you Juwan Johnson on Thursday night. He finished tight end 2 overall. So, models clicking on all cylinders, all right? Let's hope we have another good week this week, right? So, this week, week 8, injuries that I am watching, all right? Zeke with the knee. I saw a tweet earlier today, about an hour ago, saying that he is most likely not playing, which means we're looking at Tony Pollard this week. We are looking at Tony Pollard. I'm going to go over him later, but we're looking at Tony Pollard. DeAndre Swift with the shoulder. We're keeping an eye on that. Without DeAndre Swift, maybe we'll go down to their RB2, or we're going to target wide receivers, tight ends, things like that from that offense if Swift is missing. We're looking at Chuba Hubbard for the ankle injury. If he's out, we'll go down to the RB2 there. Again, CMC is out of Carolina. If you guys haven't been following, breaking news, he's out. This happened last week, all right? So he's not in Carolina anymore, so that means Hubbard is the number 1 back there now, so we're going to keep an eye on that ankle injury. DK Metcalf, we're definitely keeping an eye on that knee. They're not sure quite what's going on yet, but if he is out, that makes Lockett and Goodwin very viable options as salary savers as well. So we're going to take a look at those guys. Debo with the hamstring, we don't know what's going on there yet, so we're going to take a look at him. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, he had a concussion. What's going on in Detroit? All right, a lot of injuries there, and not really sure exactly what's going on with Brown, but we're going to keep an eye on him because if he's out, that means Josh Reynolds, things like that. Those guys are going to be huge in my lineups, all right? Detroit is going to be playing from behind most likely against Miami, so we're looking to exploit that matchup. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot, so we're going to look for that. All right, so those are injuries I'm watching. All right, so matchups, right? Let's talk matchups. The Thursday night matchup is going to be Baltimore and Tampa Bay. You guys know I don't really, again, give you build rosters for this. I just go over some guys I like. Baltimore, 22nd overall defense. Tampa Bay has the 6th best defense in the league. You have a banged-up Lamar Jackson who's missing his favorite target, potentially missing his favorite target. We'll see. Again, Mark Andrews, another injury we're watching against a decrepit Tom Brady. Never thought I'd say decrepit Tom Brady, but Tom Brady looks like he should be retired in a museum right now. He does not look good. His offensive line does not look good. There's not much that looks good in Tampa Bay besides their defense. All right, so Thursday night game, I'm going to go over that in a little bit more detail. But these are just the matchups just to show. And defensive ratings up on the screen there. We're going to go over why those are important a little bit. So the Thursday night game, right? I just started talking about it, but Baltimore's defense is not very good, all right? They're not very good against a quarterback. Does that mean I'm throwing Tom Brady in my roster? Probably not, but I am throwing the Tampa Bay wide receivers in there, all right? Baltimore's terrible against wide receivers. Evans, Godwin, insert, please, all right? Those guys are going in. Fournette could possibly go in there. We'll see about Mark Andrews, all right? We'll see what's going on with him again injury-wise. If not, Otten from Tampa Bay is a good option, or a secondary receiver for Baltimore could be a good option as well. But again, I don't love these kind of games. I don't like picking players from one team specifically. I'd stack up Tampa Bay's offense, though. Again, that Tampa Bay defense is pretty good, so I'd be hesitant on the offensive players from Baltimore. That's just my feeling. We have a morning game on Sunday. All right, we have a 9:30 a.m. Eastern start time. Over in Europe, the Broncos will be playing Jacksonville. All right, that game is in London. Denver's defense is good. Denver has the 4th best defense overall. Jacksonville's defense is not very good. 13th overall. They're middle of the pack. I don't love this lineup either, right? I would target the Denver players, but Russell Wilson is not having a good year. Cortland Sutton could be a good play. Running backs from Denver are a good option. Again, this is why I don't love picking just a single game roster, because it's tough. And also, these guys, I don't love any of these matchups. If I absolutely love the matchup, I would give it to you, but I don't love any of these guys. The Sunday night game, Green Bay against Buffalo. All right, you have 2 relatively good defenses. Green Bay's about mid-pack defense. Buffalo has the best defense in the league right now. I'd be lining up an entire Buffalo roster, basically. If you want to throw like an Allen Lazard in there or a Aaron Jones, I won't fault you, but Buffalo's roster is going in that lineup and just hitting submit, because Green Bay's offense looks abysmal. They look terrible. All right, Aaron Rodgers, again, another guy who should probably hang it up, be in a museum. He doesn't look good. He doesn't. All right, and then the Bengals and the Browns is the Monday night game. Again, this is another one, just stacking up Cincinnati's team, basically, putting them in there and hoping that they have a great game and just carry that fantasy roster. I don't really love anyone on Cleveland. You could go Nick Chubb, but Cincinnati's decent against the run. You could go like Amari Cooper, things like that. But again, that's a Cincinnati-heavy lineup. If you are taking the lineup there, I would go heavy on Cincinnati. All right, so the main slate. All right, guys, let's go over the main slate. So I'm going to flip over to this screen here. All right, and I have, just like I did last week, all right, guys, I have the model exported out so you guys can see it a little bit easier, so it's not so confusing going through the actual model itself. We're going to go over the quarterbacks. All right, 2 favorites this week. 2 favorites. Jalen Hurts is number 1. All right, he is my favorite quarterback this week. He is expensive, though. All right, so you might have to balance that within your roster. I also love Tua this week. Detroit's defense is absolutely awful. They're 31st overall, 29th against quarterbacks. Tua will be in a lot of lineups as well as Jalen Hurts. All right, Pittsburgh's defense is 23rd overall, 24th against the quarterback. If you guys don't know, I'm a Philly fan, yes, but this is not a homer pick. This is just going against Pittsburgh's terrible defense. Their defense is bad. I will be at this game, actually. I will be at the Eagles-Pittsburgh game. Looking forward to that. I will watch Jalen Hurts dominate and win me some fantasy contests. All right, I know for a fact that he will be in a lot of my lineups. Again, we already went over Tua. Kirk Cousins is a viable option. All right, playing against Arizona, Kirk loves those 1 p.m. games. All right, he loves the 1 p.m. time slot. 27th overall defense for Arizona, 27th against quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins is a good pick as well. I also like Daniel Jones this week. All right. See, you can tell that my picks aren't just homer picks. I'm telling you, I like Daniel Jones, even though he plays for the Giants. 28th overall defense for Seattle, 23rd against the quarterback. They're not good against quarterbacks. They're not good in general. So we like Danny Jones this week. A couple other guys you could potentially play in there if you wanted. Derek Carr against the Saints. They have the worst defense in the league, 20th to quarterbacks. Could be a good option if you want to plug him in. Again, guys, I told you on Sunday I'm going to be sending out my exact ranking, so you'll see there will be no change between Jalen and Tua. They will be 1 and 2. All right, 3, 4, 5 may change a little bit, but it will most likely be Jalen, Tua, Kirk, Danny Dimes, Derek Carr. All right, now, if you want a cheap option, we're going to scroll down here. We're going to go down into the depths of the spreadsheet. Taylor Heineke could be a decent option if you would like to take him. Playing against Indianapolis. Indianapolis' defense is not very good. They're just not. He's a cheap option if you want. And if you want to go really, really cheap, all right, Sam Ehlinger for the Colts. All right, we got notice that he's the starting quarterback this week in Indianapolis. I don't love playing a quarterback starting for the first time, but he is a very cheap option, and you'll see why I may be building him into lineups later, because we are loaded at the running back position. We're loaded at the wide receiver position this week. So this might be a good week to pay down on a quarterback and load up on some studs in your wide receiver and your running back position. Again, guys, up to you what you want to do there, but Ehlinger is a decent option there. Again, I wouldn't expect a ton out of him, but he is saving me a ton of room that hopefully my wide receivers and my running backs can make up for. All right, so talking about running backs, let's pop over the running back position here. All right, who do I like on the running back? Let's make that a little smaller so you guys can see it better. Running backs, all right. Derrick Henry. Well, of course you love him. D-Gen, he's the highest priced running back on the thing. Yeah, you're not wrong. However, Houston's defense, 13th overall, 32nd. The worst defense against running backs. Love Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry feasts against Houston. Gave you guys Josh Jacobs last week who played against Houston. He ate. That's why I like Derrick Henry this week. Derrick Henry's one of my favorites. The other favorite there in green is Raheem Mostert. All right. We're really looking to exploit that Miami and Detroit matchup. All right. Detroit's defense, again, terrible. So we're looking to take advantage of that. Mostert is going, again, like I said, the Lions. 31st defense overall. 31st against running backs are the second worst. All right. I have lineups I'll show you in a little bit. Derrick Henry and Raheem Mostert built into the same lineup. All right, you have the worst defense against the run and the second worst defense against the run. That can't be too bad, right? I don't think so. Saquon, another good pick this week. Again, Seattle's defense is awful. 28th overall, 28th against the run. Jonathan Taylor, this is probably the cheapest you'll see him. He was higher in the beginning of the season. He's coming back off that injury. He's not having a good year. I have him on some of my fantasy teams. Believe me, I know he's not having a good year. He's cost me week after week, but it is what it is. Washington's defense is not very good against the run. They're decent overall. They're not very good against the run. If you want to take them, you can take them. I'd personally, in this instance, I would pay up for a Barkley on DraftKings. I wouldn't pay up for Barkley on like a FanDuel. I'd go down with some of these other guys that I have highlighted here, but it depends what platform you're playing on, and you can take a look there. Alvin Kamara, he could be a viable option if you want against Las Vegas. 20th overall, 19th against the run. Josh Jacobs is another one against New Orleans, who have the worst defense. They're 15th against the run, but they have the worst defense. I expect Vegas to be leading this matchup pretty quickly, and then hopefully in that second half they take over and start running the ball with Josh Jacobs, their workhorse. I think he's good for 100 yards and a touchdown, but we'll see what happens. Kenneth Walker, all right, you guys know I love Kenneth Walker. I gave him out last week. I've had him in just about every single week. The websites have finally started pricing him properly, all right? He's relatively cheap on DraftKings still, I'll be honest. FanDuel, they've got him priced where they should have him priced, all right? They've had him priced a little bit too low, in my opinion, and I've been plugging him in every single week. He may not go off every single week, but at the price point, he's a great value play every single week. This week, they finally fixed their pricing on FanDuel. DraftKings lagging behind a little bit, but I like him again this week. Again, if you want to take him and one of these other guys a little bit below him, then you can stack up on wide receivers. We'll go over them in a little bit. Who else do we have on here? Dameon Pierce, another good option. I think you're going to see his price tag go up a little bit. Tennessee's defense is actually decent. They're 8th overall, 8th against the run. At that price, though, I do like him a little bit. And I do see his price tag going up in the weeks to come. He's priced a little bit too low, in my opinion, for a number one, no contest, really, running back there in Houston. All right, he doesn't really have any contest in the backfield. So I do expect that price to go up. Again, Houston's not very good, though. They will be behind, so that run may not be too strong there, but we'll see what happens. Houston's been surprising some people. Breece Hall, he's out for the season, all right, so, or at least indefinitely is what the reports are saying, but he's out for the season. Just keep an eye on that, all right? I don't know why he's priced in there, but he is out. Tony Pollard, all right? I told you guys Zeke's injury. He's probably not going to play. Tony Pollard instantly shoots up my board, all right? Why? Chicago has a good defense overall, but they're terrible against the run. They're 26th against the run. You're going to get a number one running back in Tony Pollard this week, all right? If Zeke is out, again, if Zeke is out, Tony Pollard will be number one in that backfield at a low price tag comparative to some of these other number one running backs. So I do like him. I already went over Raheem Mostert. Brian Robinson Jr. is another good cheap option if you're looking for a cheaper option for Washington. Indianapolis's defense is they're decent, but they're not very good. So I like him as a cheap option there as well. And I think he rounds out my cheap options in terms of running backs. But again, this week, guys, right, I said you could go low at the quarterback position. You can go average the quarterback and really look to stack up some of these good running backs. Again, Raheem Mostert will probably be in every lineup, and we'll look to piece together some nice teams with him in there, and then also with some of these wide receivers. All right, so let's go over the wide receivers. Told you guys this loaded up with studs. It certainly is. All right, we've got Cooper Kupp, we've got Justin Jefferson, we have Devontae Adams, we have Tyreek Hill. All right, we have all the prime suspects. We're missing Diggs, obviously, because Buffalo is playing on the nighttime game. But we have the studs back in the lineup that we didn't have last week. All right, last week we could pay down at the wide receiver to get some good value plays. This week, if you want a good receiver, you're going to be paying up for him with some exceptions, and I will give you guys those exceptions. All right, so let's go over my favorites. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Obviously, you're not taking both of them together, but you're going to take one or the other. Going against Detroit, all right? Tua's back. He's going to ball out, hopefully, in his return. Tyreek and Jalen Waddle are going to be his go-to guys. Depending on what your salary is looking like, personally, I like Jalen Waddle for the little bit of salary saver. I think Tyreek Hill is going to have a better week than Jalen Waddle will, but I like Waddle for the little bit of salary relief there. It saves you about $1,000. $800, $900, depending where you're at. So I do like Waddle a lot this week, and I'm going to scroll down here to DJ Moore, all right? You don't see me taking Carolina Panther wide receivers very often. Their QB situation is an absolute disaster. I hate anybody they have playing quarterback, all right? I don't like any of them. However, the Falcons' defense is so bad against wide receivers, and they're just bad overall. They're 25th overall, 32nd in the league against wide receivers. They're the worst defense in the league against wide receivers. I love DJ Moore this week. He's their primary target in Carolina. Yes, you could buy down some of these other guys on Carolina's wide receiver core. DJ Moore will be a hog this week. All right, he's going to be getting the ball a lot. He's going to be getting targets. I love DJ Moore this week. All right, he is literally probably my favorite wide receiver this week. Again, those rankings will come out on Sunday officially, but I do love DJ Moore a lot this week, even though I hate the quarterback situation. All right, Justin Jefferson, he's going to have a good week, I think. People are saying Arizona's defense, they always lock down the number one receiver. Yeah, they don't lock down Jay Jettas, all right? He's going to have a good week. If you want him, you're going to have to pay for him, though, right? Same thing with Devontae Adams. He's going to have a good week, I believe. Again, New Orleans defense, terrible. 32nd overall, 28th against wide receivers. You do have to pay for him, though. I do like him a lot. You could stack him with a Derek Carr if you wanted. I don't love Derek Carr. I told you I like him. I don't love him, though. You could stack him there. You could stack him with a Josh Jacobs, things like that. But I do like Devontae Adams. A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts is going to be throwing the ball. They're going to be running the ball. They're going to be doing a lot of things. Expect a high-scoring game out of Philadelphia against that dreadful Pittsburgh defense. And I do like A.J. Brown. Personally, I'd be taking a Tyreek Hill or a Devontae Adams over the A.J. Brown play, or I'd go down and take like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, again, depending on his injury. We're going to be watching that closely. Or a Jalen Waddle over an A.J. Brown, but up to you guys. Deebo Samuel, I mentioned him already. We're keeping an eye on that injury that he potentially may have. We'll see what's going on there. Chris Olave, I like him this week. Vegas is bad on defense. I like their offense this week. Their defense is just as bad, so I like New Orleans offense quite a bit too. Again, guys, you're going to see a lot of similar teams here because we're exploiting the matchup. Usually when a defense is bad, they're bad in general. All right, so Olave, Vegas is 20th overall in defense, 23rd against wide receivers. We like Olave. It gives you a little bit of salary relief as well if you want to take him. Jacoby Myers could be a decent play as well. We'll keep an eye on him potentially as that salary relief, but I'm taking DJ Moore over any of those guys. But DJ Moore is going to be in a lot of my lineups. You'll see. Josh Reynolds. All right, Josh Reynolds is potentially a play if Swift or Amon-Ra St. Brown, specifically Amon-Ra St. Brown, but if Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown are out, Josh Reynolds is instantly going into every single lineup. Detroit needs offense from somewhere. They're going to go to him if Amon-Ra is out. He's going to be one of their primary targets. Hawkinson will be as well, but on that wide receiver routes, Josh Reynolds will be your guy there. If you're liking the Danny Dimes pick and you want to stack him up with a Giants receiver, all right, Wan'Dale Robinson. I liked him last week. He had a decent week. Darius Slayton, again, you're not taking both of them, but you can pick either one of them. They're about the same on the salary. Depends what you want, right? If you want the targets, you want Wan'Dale Robinson. If you want the touchdowns, you're probably going Darius Slayton. All right, it seems like Danny Jones looks for Slayton more in the red zone. Going down the field, though, he looks for Robinson. Either way, they're probably going to have about a similar week, so you can plug either one of them in depending on what your lineup's looking like. And then Marquise Goodwin could be one of my favorite picks of the week, again, with the Metcalf injury. All right, we're keeping an eye on that. But if Metcalf is out, Marquise Goodwin will be in a lot of lineups as well. He will be a good salary saver, so we're going to keep an eye on him. Garrett Wilson could also be a good option if you're looking for a little bit of salary relief, trying to get some of those top running backs and top receivers together. You're going to have to go down somewhere, so Garrett Wilson could provide you some of that relief as well. I think he'll have a good week. I don't expect a ton of performance out of him, but I think he is the best option at this price range right there. All right, so that is those are my wide receivers. Those are the guys I like. All right, talk about tight ends. Let's talk tight ends. All right, so I liked Kittle last week. I like him again this week. I don't love him this week, though. All right, I don't love Kittle because I'm playing against the Rams. The Rams have the best defense in the league against tight ends. So I don't love Kittle this week. He's very high priced for how much I don't love him. So he's on there, but I don't love him. The two guys I love, Hawkinson and Irv Smith Jr. All right, again, Detroit, they may be missing Swift. They may be missing Brown. Goff is going to be looking to throw to Hawkinson a lot. All right, so keep an eye on Hawkinson this week. I do like him. Miami's defense, again, 22nd overall, 24th against tight ends. He's going to be a good play. And then Irv Smith Jr. is a great pick this week, in my opinion. All right, he's not going to give you those top-level performances, but he's going to give you a solid performance at an incredible price. All right, and Arizona's defense is awful against tight ends. They're 31st in the league. They're second worst against tight ends. So I do like Irv Smith. I told you guys I liked Juwan Johnson against Arizona. He balled out last week, finished second overall. Irv Smith Jr., in my opinion, is a better tight end than Juwan Johnson is, and he's playing against Arizona. So I love Irv Smith this week. Again, the Philly plays, not a homer pick again. Pittsburgh's so bad. They're really, really bad. They're really, really bad. There's one football team in Pennsylvania. All right, guys, there's one football team. It's the Eagles. All right. I don't even know why Pittsburgh claims to be a football team. Be that as it may, they're semi-good against a tight end, but if the Eagles are putting up a lot of points, Goddard's going to be heavily involved. All right. He's going to be looking for those routes over the middle. He's going to be looking for those little wheel-type routes. Goddard will be a good play this week. He's not my favorite play. Again, Hawkinson and Irv Smith are, but we like Goddard. Higbee could be also a good option. San Francisco's defense is decent overall, so I don't know if you want to take him or not. Gesicki, I like Gesicki. Again, we're exploiting that terrible defense in Detroit. And then also, Dalton Schultz is always a viable option with Dak in at quarterback. They had a bad week last week. I don't expect it again this week, but they could potentially have a bad week. But Dalton Schultz could be a good pick for you if you like that matchup against Chicago. And if you think Dak is going to have a good week this week, then he's probably going to throw to Dalton Schultz quite a bit. He's going to throw to CeeDee Lamb. I'm just not getting too hype on Dallas, all right? It's not because I don't like Dallas. I hate Dallas. We'll keep that very clear. I had two of them in my lineup last week, all right? I had Dak and I had CeeDee Lamb. They burnt me. It hurts more when Dallas burns me when I lose taking them because they had a bad week, all right? Yeah, they had a bad week and they screwed me over. So I'm sitting there not rooting for them, but they didn't do well for me. So it is what it is. But Dalton Schultz, if you like him, take him. But my two, Hawkinson and Irv Smith Jr. Irv Smith Jr. is my pick for the week, all right? And defenses, you guys know me by now. I don't like to pay up too much at the defensive position, all right? I'm usually looking for a cheap but viable defense. It's going to be the Commanders this week, all right? I don't like their defense very much. They're not a great defense, but they're cheap. And they're going to do well against the Colts, I believe, especially with a first-time quarterback throwing, all right, in Ellinger. I really do like the Commanders this week. I think they're going to put some pressure on them, and we could see a very bad performance out of a who knows quarterback, right? We don't know what he looks like, but Commanders would be my pick for defense. Again, cheap option, viable option. If you want to pay up a little bit, I like the Giants defense this week against Seattle. Seattle's offense is not very good. They're okay. And then the Patriots defense could also be a good play as well. If you guys want to pay up a defense, obviously I think the Eagles defense will have a good week. But I'm not paying up at defense. All right, you guys know I don't pay up for defenses. So I always look to plug in one of those cheaper options that will give me some points. All right, so those are my picks for the week. That's why I'm picking them. All right, now let's put together some lineups here, and let's show you guys some things. All right, so again, the quarterback position. Are we paying up at quarterback? Are we staying mid-tier, or are we going bottom tier? Well, I'm going to give you options at both and show you what you can do, right? So Tua, not the highest priced quarterback. He's decently priced, but we're going to take him with a Derrick Henry and a Raheem Mostert. Again, I told you, worst defense against the run, second worst defense against the run. We're stacking them up, all right? Throwing in DJ Moore. I told you I love DJ Moore. I have Amon-Ra in there because I do like him if he's in the game. We have Olave in there. Irv Smith. Told you I love him. He's in there. We're going to throw an Allen Robinson in there, all right? Why am I throwing Allen Robinson in there? I think the Rams are going to have a decent game. Do I expect them to have a very high-scoring game against San Francisco? No, but Cooper Kupp will get his, all right? He will do well. He will get targets. He will get yards. He probably will get a touchdown. But we're going to plug in Robinson as a cheap option there as the wide receiver 2 in LA. I like him a little bit. Again, it's a cheap price tag. If you want to go for somebody else, you certainly can. Some of the other guys I mentioned, you could plug in as well, like a Jacoby Myers, Josh Reynolds if you want to plug him in, but then you're going to be stacking the Detroit wide receivers. If you want to take a Garrett Wilson, Marquise Goodwin would fit really well in this lineup. So, again, just showing you some viable options you guys can put together. These are not my final lineups. Again, we need the injury reports, but just some options and showing you what we can do here, right? So let's pay up at quarterback, all right? Let's take Jalen Hurts. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to pay down at running back now because I paid up at Jalen Hurts. Now I need to balance out the rest of the lineup. Still got Mostert in there because I love him this week. Brian Robinson, I mentioned why I like him. He's in there. Again, DJ Moore. We love DJ Moore this week. He's in there. We got Waddle. All right, I took Waddle over Hill in this scenario. We have Olave. We have Irv Smith. And we have Tony Pollard. Again, the Commanders' defense. They're going to be in probably every lineup this week for me because they're cheap. And I don't trust the Colts, especially with a brand new quarterback. I don't trust them. So that's why the Commanders are in there. But here, let's look at this, right? We have my favorite wide receiver, or my favorite quarterback of the week. We have my two favorite, my running back and my, actually, I should just call this my favorites lineup, right? Jalen Hurts is one of my favorite quarterbacks. Mostert is one of my favorite running backs. DJ Moore, favorite wide receiver. Irv Smith, favorite tight end. We got a lot of my favorites in here, stacked up together. We're filling them in with very good players at each position, all right? So this is what we're doing if we're paying up for quarterback. And here's an option where we are paying down at quarterback, but here's what you can do when you pay down at quarterback, all right? So Ellinger at quarterback. We have Derrick Henry and Mostert stacked together. We have Devontae Adams. We have DJ Moore. We have Marquise Goodwin. We're taking the Giants tight end, Marinik. I don't know how you say his name. I don't really care as long as he puts up points, right? Because they lost their tight end last week. The Giants did. So we like him. And we're throwing Barkley in there. All right, so you have Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, and Saquon Barkley. If you go back and look, those are three top guys on the same roster because we're paying down a quarterback. Do I love this? No, but do I think those three guys can easily make up for paying down at Ellinger? Probably. All right, then we're plugging in, again, DJ Moore, my favorite wide receiver. Mostert, plug it in there. Goodwin, good options. Good options. All right, that's on DraftKings. On FanDuel, again, similar situations, right? We're paying up a quarterback with Jalen Hurts. We're going to have Mostert and Henry in there, so we have those two guys. Then we're adding Josh Reynolds, DJ Moore, Goodwin, Irv Smith Jr., Deebo Samuel, and the Commanders. So I love this lineup a lot, actually. Dependent on the injuries, though, right? Debo, we don't know what's going on with him. We don't fully know what's going on with Metcalf, and we don't know what's going on Amon-Ra St. Brown yet. But this has potential to be a very good lineup, depending on the injury reports. Again, that's why, guys, I tell you, be in the Discord. All right, so link down below. Go join it. Follow Daily Fantasy Domination on Instagram and on Twitter. There, I'll give you guys my picks Sunday morning, so you can plug them in Sunday and bet with a DGen, basically. Here's another one where we're gonna go for the mid tier. We're gonna go Tua. Again, Mostert is in there. DJ Moore's in there, of course. Saquon, Jalen Waddle, Olave. We're taking Disley. I like Disley. Geno Smith's been throwing to him a lot recently, so we like that. Devontae Smith, again, exploiting that Philly-Pittsburgh matchup. Could be a good option there, and the Commanders on defense. And finally, if you want to pay down a little bit of quarterback with a Taylor Heineke, we're going to go Derrick Henry, Raheem Mostert, Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, Brandon Cooks, Giants tight end Marinick, and Devonta Smith again. All right, so there's some overlap in these lineups, obviously. A lot of the players I like are in here multiple times, but this is a good option too. Do I expect Heineke to have a good day? He'll probably put up average numbers, if you ask me. I don't see him balling out against Indianapolis. Indianapolis' defense is, again, it's not very good, but neither is Taylor Heineke. All right, Washington's not very good overall, but you have a Derrick Henry, you have a Justin Jefferson, you have an Ayuk. These guys can make up for paying down at the quarterback. So that's why I am saying that I like those guys there. All right, so some stacks. If you guys are into stacking, I find myself doing it occasionally. I don't love to stack, but if you guys want to stack, you go with the Miami stack. You go Tua with Hill, Waddle, Mostert, Gesicki. Take your pick with Tua. I love the Tua and Mostert stack, or the Tua and Gesicki stack. Again, Mostert will be in a lot of my lineups, but Tua stacked with any of those guys is a good option. You go the Philly stack, all right? Hurts with A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith. You could add Goddard in there if you wanted to. The Minnesota stack with Cousins, Jefferson, and Irv Smith Jr. And then you have the Giants stack with Danny Dimes, Barkley, or the tight end Marinick. All right, so there's some options here to stack. Again, to really figure out what you want to do at quarterback this week, and then kind of build your roster around that. If you don't know what you want to do at quarterback, start building your roster around maybe one key player at wide receiver or running back, and then look to see what you can do to adjust from there. But I really think the quarterback this week is going to be a tough pick, because you're either going to pay up and then you're going to kind of build in the lineup around your quarterback and figure out who fits where, or if you're going to pay down a quarterback, then you can really go out there and get one of those top running backs, top wide receivers. Do what you guys want to do, all right? But you have the picks. You have the guys I like. Again, Sunday morning, I will post in Discord, Instagram, and on Twitter my stacked lineups, just like I put up on the screen there with the top 5 picks. I will post those same things on Sunday morning, all right? And what's coming up next? So, live show November 2nd, all right? 9 p.m., again, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Office hours tomorrow night in the Discord voice room. Again, you can DM me on Instagram. You can email me, dicedgen@gmail.com. You can message me on Discord if you have any questions. Feel free to do so, all right? And, guys, that is week 8. That is the wrap-up. All right, again, Sunday morning I will post my rankings at each of the positions. Hopefully we'll have a good week like we did last week. But the model has done its work. I've given you the plays I like. Now we need the players to go out there and do their job, right? We need the players to go do their job, so let's hope they do their job. And that is episode done for week 8 on Daily Fantasy Domination. All right, guys. Again, if you have any questions, shoot me a DM, email, whatever it is. I went over all the ways to contact me. Get in Discord if you're not in Discord already. And look for my plays on Sunday morning, and we will dominate fantasy, because this is Fantasy Domination with the DGen, and I will see you guys real soon. Until next time, guys, have a good one.